So, good afternoon and welcome along to Eclipse Motorcycles. Today we're going to be looking at this. This is the Lexmoto Pegasus 300cc. Now it has got the uprated Tyres suspension on it, fully automatic bike, and you've got the two positions to place your feet, so down on the bottom here, or you can put your feet up. Just looking around the front of the bike, you've got those white strips that illuminate the bike on the inside and outside, and those projector style headlights. This is an ABS, obviously 300cc. It does have ABS splashed up with the Pegasus markings from Lexmoto on there, and loads of bits saying Taro. It's a great bike that they have put out, this one. Lovely style of that exhaust, nice and low slung. And then just looking at the back, just look at the profile from round the back. Once again, all LED from the rear. So what we're going to do, we're going to get up close and personal, get right in depth on this bike and run through the specifications. So here we go, up close and getting personal with the bike. Now these retail at the moment at $3,399.99, plus obviously on top your on the road fees. 300cc, there's a TR300T Euro5 engine in this one. 13 litre fuel capacity, 26.1 horsepower, 19.5 kilowatts, and they reckon the average speed on this, or the top speed, 78 mile an hour, 125 kilometers an hour. But a fantastic bike, this one. Single cylinder engine, 4-stroke and obviously water cooled, 276cc, twist and go, belt drive, electric start. What more could you ask for? So just running through the spec once again. Hydraulic discs to the front and back, so let's just have a look. You've got twin discs to the front on this one, and just working around to the other side just to show you up close and personal. And your ABS ring is just to the inside there. All the hoses and cables nicely threaded out the way, which is something I'd like to see on more bikes rather than just the massive cables all down the front. Running on the Timson tyres on this one, so you've got a 120/70/15 on the front and a 140/70/14 to the rear. Tubeless tyres, once again telescopic forks, twin shocks to the rear, and this is Taro suspension on this one. Oh, so just getting in on the Taro suspension there, I'm just checking that out. And then once again, that lovely exhaust to the rear. Just round the bike, all LED to the rear, and a great nice big stop light there, and obviously your LED indicators either side of that number plate. Now this does have the option to have the Lexmoto rack and put a top box on. Now we've got a 42 litre option, and obviously got the bigger option, which is the 52, or you can go smaller on the 32. This one's fitted with a 42, which has got the extra rack to the top should you want to put anything else on there. Length of the bike is 2227 millimeters, so 2227 millimeters long, 786 millimeters width. The seat height on this is 1291. So the height of the bike, so I say, is 1291, and the seat height 780. So 780 is just a little bit smaller than what we would compare the LXS. LXS is at 790. Wheelbase on it 16-17 millimeters, and the best thing, it's only 177 kilograms, so it's not a very heavy bike for 300cc, which is great. A couple of things, obviously, just going to move on to the controls on this. So down the left hand side at the bottom, you've got your indicators, then your horn, high beam, low beam, and your pass light to the rear. Just looking across to the other side, all the normal functions, so you've got start button, a hazard switch, and your kill button there. Now just putting the ignition on, so key in. Now this does have a security feature, so you can flick that over and stop any little hoodlum trying to get in. Very easy just to unlock using the back of the key and to arm the ignition on. Now if you wanted to get to the seat and fuel, put it into the seat and fuel position. Up pops your fuel cap, which is located just down here. So a nice lockable fuel cap. Click the button for the seat. Now with the seat, it does go in the opposite direction, so enough room there to put your full face helmet and your wet weather gear as well. And that locks down very, very good. Once you obviously arm the ignition, You've got a gorgeous display there, so you've got your speed off to the left, your revs off to the right, nice big miles an hour indicator in the center as well, and then off to the left hand side of that display you've got your water temperature, and then obviously your fuel gauge, time, and your charge voltage to the top left of the screen. So that is available from Eclipse Motorcycles. If you are interested, give them a call, 01908 643 603. You can also find the website, which is eclipsemotorcyclesmk.co.uk, where that bike is advertised. So if you are interested, obviously give this team a call, and a ride test due to be followed up shortly.
A few moments later.
So here we go then, all set for the ride test. Just throw a leg over. Loads and loads of seat on this bike. Very easy, just to roll it off of that main stand. Arm the ignition. And fires on the button. Once it does fire, you obviously get your daytime running light that comes up just at the bottom down here, just to tell you that your lights are on. Idles around the 1700 RPM, so nice low RPM on this. Nice wide mirrors. The one thing I always go on about is these nice wide mirrors. Now, holding the bike dead level and looking in the mirrors, I have zero shoulder in either mirror on these. So great idea, nice wide mirrors, perfect view of the road behind. And the first thing we always do, low stability, low speed stability. So rolling at about 10 miles an hour, feet up still. I don't need to put my feet down there. So let's get out on the road and see what this is like. 40 mile an hour road. Quick twist of the wrist and you're straight up to speed. Now obviously 300cc is a little bit faster than what I'm used to riding. But for the purposes obviously of the ride test, I am on a brand new bike. It has only done 1.6 miles, so we will be taking it easy due to it being a customer's bike. But just to see what it's like, what the riding position is like, how it handles, how it sounds. So far, so good. One thing to obviously check, the brake efficiency. So coming in on the rear brake first, big handful, and pull it down. And using that combined braking, absolutely perfect. We'll be using the front brake next time we stop. Into the corner, and away we go. Obviously 60 mile an hour dual carriageway. Yes, you can go a little bit faster, obviously on a 300cc. But for the purposes of ride testing, I'm going to be sitting at an average 45 on a brand new motor. Little burst up to 50 and then back down to 45. Now obviously this does 78 mile an hour once run in. And a lot of people do say that obviously most of these are pre-running, you can open them up. I am not going to chance that. As I say, with a brand new engine, take it easy, let the engine bed in first before you decide to open it up and give it some beans. But the riding position, lovely deep comfy seat, and you've got that nice backrest just behind the rider to obviously cushion you. Loads and loads of room for your passenger to obviously snug up close. For the actual hand position, I would say I'm not dead level, I'm about 2 inches to 3 inches down, so my arms are at an angle, but the ride position, very comfortable, very easy for me to get to all these controls. And I have a set of winter gloves on, so obviously very thick padded gloves, and yet I can still operate all those controls efficiently. So great idea in spacing all the controls out. Now the controls are slightly different from what you'd find on a 125. Normally on a 125, horn at the bottom, then the indicators, then the lights. This is slightly reversed, Honda-esque style, should we say, where your indicators at the very bottom, your horn, and then your main beam, high beam above that. So obviously 300cc, I can dominate the lane a little bit more, and obviously open it up a little bit more. But as I say, perfect view of the road behind me. I've got a very good visual display in front of me that gives me my speed, and it's very easy to see. So very easy to get your eyes to those clocks. No trying to look over the top or below bars to see what the clocks are saying. And a nice display of obviously your water temperatures and your fuel as well, and your charge voltage, 14.4 ideal charging voltage. And the clock is actually right, 16:16. Yes, it is 4:15. Still watching obviously the traffic behind me. I do tend to move in. If I do see coming up behind me, just give them a little bit of room to get past. Nice steady run down the dual carriageway. We're going to come down the other side and then we're going to go into town, do a bit of urban and see what it's like around town. Once again, coming off, just obviously double checking the mirrors, doing my shoulder checks. Coming up to the lights now, obviously I've got a red and I'm still maintaining speed. What I want to do is get a nice bit of speed up and come in really heavy on the brakes. So bringing it down as quick as I can, 3, 2, 1, and there we go. So straight down on that front brake, loads and loads of front brake, and the forks don't dive too bad as well. So nice little bit of moderate fork pressure there. Then obviously trying to see if I can get the ABS to kick off, and there we go, pulling it really really hard. Nice emergency stop, that stops on an absolute sixpence. So great idea, 300cc, got a bit of ABS on it. That's going to get you out of trouble should you grab too much of a handful of front brake on a wet day or a damp day. But these tyres, absolutely ideal. The screen in front, it's only a tiny little screen, so it's only sort of just below mid-chest height, but that is enough of an angle to obviously deflect that air away from the top of my visor. And we're going to try that in a second. We're going to pop the visor up and just see what the difference is with the visor down and me talking and the visor up, just to see what that difference in air pressure is, just see how much noise we can pick up from obviously how much air is going to hit you in the face. And moving around, dominating the junction, both controls this time, just to check the braking, which is something that we tend to do. Now, 5'10", 13 stone, I am flat-footed to the floor when I put my feet down, which is ideal. So back down the side of the dual carriageway we go, 4.5 miles on the clock. And a little bit more to ramp up on this, and it's been a while since I've been out on a long ride test. But as I say, this is probably one of the flagship bikes from Lexmoto, and you don't see many of these big CC bikes around. But for the money, for $3,399.99 or $3,400, what an amazing bike this is. So comfortable. And obviously I can compare it. I have been out on a couple of other bikes, the Japanese brand, that are very comparable to this. And for comfort, they're all much of a muchness really. But obviously for the other versions, you are going to be paying a lot more money for something that does exactly the same. Now a lot of people are using these obviously for deliveries, for Uber. And a great idea from Lexmoto to obviously do an aftermarket carrier, and that is very very heavy cast aluminium. Now if you notice that a little bit of a heavy side gust, the bike, obviously I got buffeted, but the bike just sits there absolutely perfectly. It's very very easy for this bike to actually run away with you. Trying to keep it to around about 45-50. A little bit of 55 there. And I'm literally using the tiniest bit of throttle. Now they obviously did say that max speed on this is around about 78. I am not going to be trying that, but once run in, yes, it probably would do that. So we'll keep up with obviously your national speed limits on the roads, and it does get there very very quick on that engine. 50 mile an hour, around about 5,500 RPM. Red line on this is just over the 10. So you basically take 48, times it by 2. Yeah, so around about 78 miles an hour, because they always say take away about 25% of your rev range once you're getting it up to speed. But a glorious ride. So what we're going to do now, flip the visor up, and believe it or not, the wind to the face is not that bad. I can feel a little bit of breeze, hence drop my sun shield down in front of my eyes just in case there are any bugs out there. But there is not a lot of wind hitting me in the face. I can feel a breeze, but this screen is deflecting a hell of a lot of air, so perfect angle on that screen. And that is one thing you obviously want, a little bit of warm weather. You don't want to be having your visor down all day. But obviously got my sun shield down in front of my eyes just to obviously cover them, just in case of any bugs or wasps or bees that happen to be flying around. Now the one thing that we always do is the hill climb. So how is this going to perform holding the throttle in a dead set location and sitting at an average speed and seeing what a 1 in 9 hill will do to the efficiency of the bike. Now obviously people have been asking what is the miles per gallon for this. Something around about 300cc. It all depends. So some people say yes, you can get sort of 45, 50 to the gallon. Some people say, oh, you could get a lot more, you could probably get 60, 70. It is all rider dependent. It depends on the road conditions, it depends on your air temperature, the weight of the rider as well is obviously another one as well. And obviously if it's flat roads all the time, or if it's uphill roads, so it's very, very rider dependent. I tend not to be a lover of MPG. So if a bike is performing and I like the bike, I'm not going to be worried too much about MPG. But let's just open that up a bit. Doesn't take long just to push it to 50. So we're going to try and hold a nice steady speed. So lock my wrist out as much as I can, which is sitting me at bang on 50 to 51 mile an hour. Now I've got my wrist locked, I've got my thumb against the edge of the guard as well, just to make sure my hand doesn't move. So 52. What is a 1 in 9 hill going to do to the 300 Pegasus? Keeping it locked. I've lost 1 mile an hour, I've lost 2. Is it going to stay around about that speed? So no, it's holding its own. So no loss of power there, or no loss of speed should I say, on a hill climb. Just sitting nice and comfortably, holding my wrist locked. Nice steady speed. Obviously a 50-mile stretch because they are doing road repairs, but climbing a hill on a 300cc Pegasus, not a problem. Not like you had with a 125 or even worse with a 50cc. Now obviously coming back off, we're going to come back down the other side and head back into town and do an urban run. Now changing in roads, there we go. So just coming off a bit of road that was ribbed into fresh tarmac, and we're coming back off again. A few bumps, and you don't even notice it. That suspension is so good, it's just soaking up the bumps. I'm mildly impressed. And obviously using both of the brakes again. Tend to use quite a lot of the right and then just back it up with the left hand brake control, just to give you a little bit of rear brake as well. But cornering wise, now I'm on fresh rubber on these tyres, but dry day, absolutely perfect, no issue at all. I never have an issue with tyres, and from what I was looking at earlier, the tyre tread looks very, very good. It's a very, very good pattern to those tyres, so will displace water very, very quickly. Not like some of the cheaper tyres that you see have got absolutely awful treads. So the tyre pattern on this is one of the things that obviously I do have a look at, as how it can displace or get rid of water really, really quick. Once again, sitting at 50, back down the hill. This is obviously due to go out to a customer in the next couple of days. But I think he's going to be slightly more than happy. I think he's going to be absolutely excelled on how good this Pegasus 300 is. Now obviously I do what I call a reach score. No one has stolen my idea yet, but a reach score. So that comes into rideability. How good is it on rideability? And I'm going to say well done Lexmoto on Taro. This is absolutely superb. If I could give this bike 20 out of 20 for rideability, I would. It is such a comfortable, effortless, glorious ride. Now obviously we haven't done a full ride test or seen what it does miles per gallon, but I could say for the economy, it's for a 300cc, is probably going to be pretty darn good. So for the fact that I haven't reviewed it, I am only going to give it an 8 out of 10 for economy, until obviously we get a better score on it. I may change my views on it. Affordability, once again I'm going to give it another 10 for 3,399.99, so 3,400. Plus your on the road fees. You're literally 2/3 of what a big bike price is in your Japanese market, and there are a few brands out there that are obviously very, very similar to this. I'm not going to name them, but you're saving yourself at least a couple of grand with one of these. So that's your affordability. That's going to be another 10. Comfort, and as I said, this seat is so soft. It's like literally like riding an armchair. I could comfortably do at least 50 miles on this before having to stop. So comfort, suspension is lovely, it handles well, but for actual comfort, seat comfort, I'm going to give it a full 10. And then once again the handling, as I normally say, one hand off, hand on my right leg, just resting away, take it over a load of bumps. I can comfortably ride one hand all the time, hand back on the bars now. But absolutely lovely, it handles exceptionally well, as we shall find out in a second once I go through town and do some slow speed manoeuvres. We'll do a couple of viewies at the roundabout and just see what it's like doing like tight U-turns. But I'd say the handling is going to be spot on, so I'm going to give it another 10. Overall score, Lexmoto, well done boys, 48 out of 50. And until obviously I check what the economy is on this bike, but I would say it's probably going to be pretty darn good. So we're going to start heading back to the garage. 11 miles on the clock, that's my ride test mileage done. Lexmoto Pegasus, absolutely beautiful. Now if you are interested in one of these, Eclipse Motorcycles mk.co.uk. Telephone number is down the bottom as well, 01908 643. Nice and slow round the roundabout. Let's lean it down a bit, look at that. And on the power, so fresh rubber, there's a little bit of a lean, not too much. Obviously you don't want to be pushing the tyres too hard on fresh rubber. You should give them at least 30 to 40 miles on fresh rubber. Down on the brakes again, left hand only, and can't fault that braking efficiency, absolutely perfect. So round town we go. Nice little bit of low speed handling, and obviously check the mirror behind me, nothing behind me. How easy is it to manoeuvre? Look at that, a little bit of lean of the body, so I'm just literally leaning my legs into this, pushing down with either foot. I can make the bike move around without touching the bars too much. Just do that one more time while I've got nothing behind me. So push with the left, push with the right, and I'm literally just pushing down and using my toes or my feet to push the bike about. So I don't even need to steer it using my hands. I'm not even holding, if we can see down here, I'm not even twisting the bars, moving the bars. That is literally just foot control. Nice little pothole I've just gone over there. And once again, suspension just soaks it up. Lean it into the corner, apply some power. Can't fault this bike at all. Absolutely perfect rideability. So if you did enjoy the video, as always, hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, comments down the bottom. I would love to know what you think of these maxi size, as I call it, flagship scooters. This thing is an absolute Rolls Royce compared to some. How do you keep your scooter clean? Obviously don't forget all your aftercare products, muck off. So we've got all your stuff like ACF 50, your protectors, your cleaners. Let us know what you think, put those in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. As I say, these are available from Lexmoto if you are into a flagship bike of 300cc. We are going to head back, give the bike the obligatory nod, clean, wash down, ACF 50, and let the customer know that the ride test is all good. From myself, RB, and the team at Eclipse Motorcycles, whatever you're doing this week, be well, ride safe, and as always, it's a big goodbye from me.